Today's lesson is over dividing integers. I need you to open your workbook to page 54, and we will go through page 56. This is example 1 on page 54. It says a machine drill is used to access water under the ground. If the machine drills the same distance each day, what is the change in the location of the bottom of the hole each day? So there's some important information that I want to point out. First of all, we've been going for 4 days. And second, we're down to 160 feet below ground level. So in division, you are going to take your total divided by part to get the other part. So if we look at that, we'll have 160 feet below ground level is negative 160 divided evenly over 4 days will give us our answer. So I want you to think about 2 steps in division. First, let me get a color. First, I want you to do the computation. And second, I want you to decide your sign. So first, if I took 160 divided by 4, I could totally do that old school, and I'm going to do that over here in the corner. 4 into 160. 4 goes into 1 0 times, but 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16, subtract it off. Bring down the 0. 4 goes into 0 0 times, that's a 0. And we're done. So the computation part is 40. And just like in multiplication, if I have one negative, that negative needs a friend, and so we'll have a negative 40, which also makes sense because they're drilling down 40 feet every day. This is the try it at the bottom of page 54. It says, suppose the machine drilled the same distance into the ground for 3 days and reached, let me highlight, 3 days, and reached water at 84 feet below ground level. What was the change in the location of the bottom of the hole each day? Now there's a lot of boxes here for you to fill in. I want you to pause me. I want you to fill everything in except the convince me. And then come back when you're ready for checking. All right, so we had said earlier that the first number in a division problem right here is our total. And if it's 84 feet below ground level, make sure you've got a negative. All right, divided evenly among 3 days. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can see if you can come up with a number times 3 to get negative 84. But I feel like an easier problem would be just to take 84 divided by 3. First, we're going to do the computation, then we're going to decide the sign. 3 goes into 8 twice. That's 6. Subtract that off and bring down your 4. 3 goes into 24 8 times, and we're at 0. All right, so I think 28 is the computation part, but we also have to figure out the sign. So this makes sense that it would be a negative 28 because we're drilling down. So if I finish filling in my box, let me change colors here. So negative 84 divided by 3 would be negative 28. They're drilling down. Plus that negative on the 84 needed a friend in the answer. So each day the location of the bottom of the hole changed by 28 feet. And then it decreased by 28 feet. I think we want this to be a negative. Sorry about that. So it changed by negative 28 or decreased by 28 feet. This is example 2 on page 55. And so we're still dividing integers. I want to remind you of a couple of things. If it helps you to use multiplication to figure out your division, you do have a multiplication table in your folder. Otherwise, we can go old school. Remember, step 1 is to do the computation. So if we have 3 divided into 27, that's going to go 9 full times. Pull out the 27, we have nothing left over. So step 1, remember, is to do your computation. But then you can't stop there, you have to decide your sign. And just like in multiplication, negatives like to come in pairs. They like to have a friend. So if I had a negative 27 and a negative 3, they're already friends. We don't need any more. So our answer is a positive 9. This is the try it halfway down, page 55. I want you to go ahead and do this. Pause me while you're working and then come back when you are ready for checking. Okay, so it looks like I have the same numbers here. So I'm going to do my computation over here on the side. I have 40 divided by 5. I can use my multiplication chart, or I can just know that 8 times 5 is 40. So the computation part is 8, but I have to decide my sign. So if I look at A, this negative and this negative are already friends. We don't need any more negatives. But this one on B, there's only one negative without a friend, so the negative goes in the answer, so then they're paired up. And then on C, that's a trick question because everything divided, 0 divided by everything is 0. Okay, we are now at example 3 on the bottom of page 55. Sometimes kids get concerned about where the negative is sitting in a fraction. I just want you to know that that negative can either be outside, it could be on top, or it could be on the bottom. It doesn't matter where your negative is. All of these fractions are equivalent to each other. This is the try it at the very bottom of page 55. I want you to go ahead and do these problems. Pause me, and when you're ready for checking, you're going to come back. All these numbers are the same, so let's do the computation first. So 11 goes into 55. If I skip counted, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. It would go in 55 times, or 5 times. So my answer is I want something that is equivalent to -5. And so these are all going to work computation-wise. I just have to figure out which ones have a negative sign. So remember, negatives like to come in pairs. So if there's no negatives in this 55 over 11, you're going to have a positive answer. On the second one, if there's one negative in the problem, there's one negative in the answer, that one works. Third one, there's one negative in the problem, so there needs to be a negative in the answer, that one works. Fourth one, they both have negatives. They're already paired up. We don't need any more. The next one, if there's one in the problem, there's got to be one in the answer, so that is a solution. And then the very last one is tricky because these two, they don't need any more, but the one out to the side, it does. So this is actually an answer as well. There are 4 answers. Every 2-page lesson ends in a summary, so we are at the top of page 56. I just want you to remember 2 steps. First, we're going to do the computation. Whether you use your multiplication chart or you go old school division. And second, we're going to decide our sign, thinking about negatives needing a friend.